Hi guys, welcome to story time. And you know it's story time because I have my story hat, the cape that helps me, and my magical wand that I may or may not have got from the fairies in what I'm about to tell. We're going to talk about a story that involves princesses and princes and fairies, of course, even a castle or two. Okay, you guys ready? Once upon a time, there was a king and a queen. And they ruled the land, and they were kind of sad. They didn't have any children. They didn't have any children to pass down their name to. But then all of a sudden, the queen became pregnant, and she bore a little daughter. The king and queen were so excited. They threw one of the biggest parties the land has ever seen. Gold and dresses. They called it a christening. Everyone is invited. The king wanted to invite every fairy he could find. Well, he ended up finding 7. And with a little touch of this, they should each grant the princess, and soon-to-be princess, a gift. All hoping good, of course. Well, the party began, and the fairies and the villagers and the king and queen danced the night away. And then it was time to eat. Well, placed in front of each fairy, all 7, there was a spoon, a fork, and a knife, and a plate. And all of these things were made of gold. Solid gold. This is how important this party is. Well, right before they're about to serve the food, a knock on the door comes in. Rasp, rasp, rasp. And they look through the door, and it's another fairy that no one had seen, not for at least 50 years. This fairy was angry and old because, well, she's at least 50. And when she came and said that she wanted to join the party, the king said, absolutely, have a seat, enjoy our feast, but I don't have any more gold plates. Well, that was a problem for the 8th fairy. She wanted gold, just like everyone else. And well, the 7th fairy, the one to go last, when giving gifts to the princess, decided that she'd wait because she wanted to see what the old angry fairy would do, because she could just tell something was off, that she was angry. So she didn't know if she was going to give the princess a good gift or not. Well, at the end of the feast, it was time for everyone to watch the gifts. The gifts were that the princess should be wonderful in grace, and that she shall sing like a nightingale. The 5th said she shall dance like a flower in the wind, and that she shall play music as we never hear on earth. And then it was the old fairy's turn. So all the gifts before this were nice, that they want her to be the most beautiful princess in all the land, and to have grace, and to sing and dance, and can do all these things. Well, the angry fairy's wish was that when the princess reached 17 years old, she would prick her finger on a spindle, and then she will die. Who does that? That says right there that she was pretty angry. Well, everyone was so worried. Why did she just do this? What are we going to do? We have 17 years left. Well, then pops out the next fairy that was hiding, because she just knew that that fairy had something bad up her sleeve. Well, the young fairy came in and said, do not grieve. I can fix this. Your daughter shall not die, but when she does turn 17 and she pricks her finger on the spindle, she will go to sleep for 100 years. And then, once the 100 years are up, the only way she can be awakened is by true love's kiss, which must come from a prince. Well, after that, the king demanded that all the spindles in the land be burned, because he didn't want to chance it. He thought he could fix it. Well, when the princess is 17 and she's wandering around the castle, she finds a little old lady in the basement, spindling because she didn't get the king's message 17 years later. And well, she asks the old lady, "May I try this? I've never done it before." And the old lady says, "Sure, why not?" Well, somehow, in one way or another, she pricks her finger and she falls over, not like she was dead, but that she passed out. The princess is now in her 100-year sleep. What were they gonna do? Well, the king and queen left because they realized what had happened. But then that one fairy that came that made this wish, and who was gonna be Sleeping Beauty's godmother, she knew she would wake up in 100 years. So she took her little magic wand and she tapped everybody, every employee, every cook, servant, maid. She made them fall asleep too. So then in 100 years, when the princess woke up, she wouldn't be lonely. Well, it worked for the time being. And so the castle had been abandoned. No one knew it was there, and it got overgrown with woods. Until one day, a prince from a following kingdom came by and noticed. And then a little villager had told him of the story of the king and queen and the Sleeping Beauty, and how the only way she could be woken up. Well, then the king rides on his horse, goes through the forest, finds this castle with people that look like statues. Their knights are just stuck like this. Or maids that are frozen making beds. And then eventually he makes it to the princess's room. And there he finds the most beautiful princess he's ever seen. Sleeping Beauty, that is. That's how she got her name. Well then, he does what he is told, what a prince does. He laid his lips onto hers and gave her true love's kiss. And she woke up just where she left off, 17 years old, just like the last 100 years hadn't happened. And with that, everyone else woke up with her. And so it was just like the kingdom, this castle was theirs. It was already ready to go. And they lived happily ever after and got married. And the little old angry fairy was never to be heard of again.